Good evening, everyone. On a Saturday, I knew that would throw a few people. That we had the Friday Night Live set up for Saturday, and now I haven't forgotten. I just like seeing the guests that's come in here. Let's see who all showed up on a Saturday, an off day. And I apologize to anybody who popped up alive. I certainly, didn't want to tread on your live time. I didn't want to leave you guys hanging any longer than necessary. Got to go hear the Roanoke Symphony Orchestra last night with my Aunt Nancy and her husband, and we had a good time. And that's the kind of thing they don't accommodate for us. So anyway, I backed the live up one even. Thank you guys for coming out. And pursuant to that, Danny Boyd is asking if I have any Grey Poupon. I don't have any Grey Poupon. I would never have that, but I do have this picture of us. Got there early to make sure we could get our seats and everything, but it was a good time. So who all is here? We have Mexican Speck and the One-Eyed Cat, Mean Street Mopar. Dennis said, stand by for action. He said that yesterday. Hope he hadn't been glued to it the whole time. Indecisive Garage, happy frigid Saturday. Cold and snowy north. Yes, we didn't have about an inch or two of snow here, and it's pretty well melted now. Wendy English is here, and Waiting Thumper is here. Let's see. Dr. Go says he's anxiously waiting. Almost time for a couple of vacation days to see my no-name Nationals friends. One-Eyed Cat says, will he unveil it or be shown when he goes live? Oh, I'm going to make you wait till I greet people. That's all. Smoke Wrench Garage. Sean, are you coming out this year? We'd like to see you. He announced a change of time yesterday. I backed it up one day, but I kept it the same time. Let's see. J-Bo's here, says fire it up. J-Bo, you need to bring Jeremy back. I have reason to believe we're just going to have a killer burnout competition. I really thought so. I thought so last year. I said, you know what? Turnout's going to be light and people are going to be wishing they'd come. And that's what everybody's saying. That's going to be a class to watch this year. The Mid-South Lowballer. Hello. Rapid Transit J, Lone Wrench Garage. I got a good crowd here. Gonna wait till people get in here and then we'll give you the date. SSR Performance, Big James, wild guess, 286. It's a reasonable enough guess. Mohawk 62. Racer Ray says that Thumper's been invited. Indeed. Andrew Nelson, good evening from Team Nivlac 57. Hello. Yeah, we're going to try to have, I'm going to send out invites, try to get a lot of these OGs back and people who haven't been there in a while. It's going to be our 5th annual event, and you won't want to miss it. It's going to be a good time. It's kind of a milestone for us. Aaron from the other side of the globe. Gosh, we get Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Mexico, United States. We'll have 5 countries, 6 if we get California. Buff Del Campo, Buff El Camino Campo. If you've seen that car he's building. Are we supposed to guess? Yeah, well, I don't care if you want to guess. There's no contest for it. Let's see here. I'll get caught up. Andy Wood, Unity Motorsports Garage. Hello, sir. Indirect Connection. Jason, my Aunt Nancy is here. Glad you could make it. Junkyard D's guessing 292. Bigfoot Mark. The Kerosene Cucumbers. Hot Rod Guy Garage. Looks like he's changed his thumbnail there. to that cool, super cool Mustang he brought out to No Name Nationals. Slant Daily Garage. Hello, sir. Andy says, Dallas and I have been on the dyno today. Yeah, there's your guesses. Tall Garage says, somehow I'm early and late. I'm just glad you're here. Pure Pontiac Garage. Thank you for coming out. Colleen Tebow, a.k.a. Mama M to the third power. Bad Tree Blake. John has his dog's bed on. He did the symbol. Yeah, I sent Blake a picture. My dog was laying at the bottom of the bed, just curled up sleeping. It was a little chilly, so I put this sweatshirt over top of him. I sent a picture to Blake. It matches him pretty good, too, with the gray. 6th Street Garage. Howdy. Engine Light Garage. People are guessing. Dust Devil Brian's in here. Always good to see you. By the way, I talked with Brian yesterday, and we are working on expanding the post-burnout competition fireworks show. So I'm excited about that. Looks like everything is wanting to grow a little for this year, and I'm excited. All right. Make sure we get caught up. Mopars, Mustangs, and minivans. Hello. Wrong English, too. All right. Twisted Dennis still here. Mommy Z Garage. I believe you're Mrs. Engine Light Garage, if I remember that correctly, because it looks like the thumbnail there. Left Turn Dodge. If you haven't seen it, he's got some pretty cool content up of that car making laps. I'll check that out. Got some neat shorts of that thing turning left, what it does well. Mostly old parts, Ron Ward. He says 5 years. Where has the time gone? Well, it'll technically be 4 years. Well, more than 5 for me, because the first event took over a year to put together. So it really is more than 5 years. Need to get Irish Outlaw back? Well, if he wants to come back, everybody's got their own thing and their own program, but he'd be welcome to. We'd love to see Jay. But I think this is going to be a good one to come out. And I will say, now that the event has consistently been every year, there are the first year people are like, I don't want to miss it because there might not be another. And they're absolutely right, because if the first one didn't turn out, people didn't show up, there wouldn't have been another, but people showed up. And so now there's the whole, I'll catch next year, I'll catch next year, I'll catch next year. And we got to get away from that. So this is going to be the 5th annual. And we want to have our biggest and best turnout yet. And best is not necessarily the biggest. Best is not necessarily most commercially successful or any of that. I thought the 4th annual had fantastic quality. It was a wonderful event. It was great. Gosh, I mean, you really can't have asked for any more excitement. Things like the bracket. Burnout contest was down a little bit, but the people who were there put on a real show. Russell dropped the mic, called his shot, did exactly what he said. It's a great event. But I think this one is going to be bigger and maintain that quality. That's what I'm expecting. The One-Eyed Cat says the No Name Nationals is our anniversary present. Can't deny the wife her present. Well, we're glad you guys come out every year. We're always happy to see the Englishes. Rodney Bird, 5th upcoming. Yes, sir. Lars is here. Tanya's here. Howdy. You gonna be making your own second car effort? Or are you going to hijack Jason's number 2 entry again this year? The Captain 311. Welcome. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I was thinking. 6% recycle. Hello, sir. I used your unlosable 10mm socket this week. I sure did. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I was putting in speed sensors on the rear wheels of the CRV because without them, I don't have 4-wheel drive. Jure Racing is here. Howdy. He just did a transmission refresh on that Duster. I was checking that out. They did a billet drum. I'm glad for that. But you can check that out. Yeah, talk Brad, the poor boys. I'd love to see Brad again. Brad puts out a great show, great display, great fellow. We'd like to see Brad come back out. And I got to tell you, it's Getting everybody back is what will make the show. Think about it. Think of all the people who've been there over the years. Some because I got to tell you, it is a huge commitment. Just Brad, for example, he's coming from the East Coast. Well, there's a West Coast, but he's coming from the coast of North Carolina. That's a long haul. Long haul. That's a lot of commitment, a lot of money. But I would love to have him back. .6% says looks like next year will be smoother. Yep, I hear that. Yeah, every year's got its challenges. Staying warm by the red light, Ricky. Is it snowing by you? Mostly old Partron says the No Name Nationals have grown in subtle ways too. He appreciates a sense of community. Yes, indeed. Pull the tape. Well, I'm 1 minute back from greeting everybody. Then we're going to do just that, so that half our crowd could disperse and go mark their calendars. Turbo Tom 416, when is the potluck? We're going to do that again Saturday night. That was great. People really enjoyed that. All right. Okay, there we go. We're caught up. Okay, so here's our guesses. The one who guessed correctly, and the only one who did, I believe, was Junkyard D at 292. The No Name Nationals will kick off for Thursday, September 24th this upcoming year. So we got the 24th, 25th, 26th. That's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Follows that same format, 24th, 5th, and 6th. Because Holly moved around their dates this year, there's stuff just decided to move. There were things that didn't move hardly anything the last 2 years, and it made a perfect slot for us the third week of September. This year that changed. So when Holly changed the first one, then they changed the second one, and then this, and anyway, this seems like it works out great for us. We could have moved a week forward or a week back, and there was more stuff to, it was the best, it looked like overall to move back 1 week. The weather will still be wonderful. I believe per Dallas, that is statistically the least chance of rain for the entire year is to have that the last weekend of September, which is a good thing. And we've got this confirmed with the track, and there we go. And I'd be good with any of it. I really want to keep this event the second half of September. So whether it's the second, the third, the fourth weekend, somewhere in there, that's where I really would like it to stay and get that kind of consistency. But that's where we are. We still are. So we're that fourth weekend, September, like we were the first year, as you remember. And that was actually by accident. Well, it wasn't by accident, but that was the backup date because there was a fiasco with scheduling with the junior dragsters. But one thing that has let me give you guys the date earlier the last 3 years has been because the Skelton Raceway folks are so good to work with on scheduling and everything, and that really helps. Really helps. So no Hawaii again. No, we could have done that easily the first year because of the sanctioning agreement with the AHRA at that track. Could have done that, but that wouldn't have worked really for anyone now, would it? Yeah, I know. Actually, I have another cartridge right there, so we can do that. In fact, I took the cartridge. I got 2 of them. I set one by my desk, so I need to just do it, but gets it away from drag week. I don't know when drag week. There's so many drag and drives now. I don't even know when that is. Don says 290 days and my car's wrapped up like a burrito. Now I'm ready for spring. All right, he says get some away from drag week. I'm really hoping that means we're going to see some Nelsons there in Sikeston because, of course, we are going to be at the Skelton Raceway in Sikeston, Missouri again, which is just a wonderful venue for us. And those guys treat us wonderfully there, and just all the way around. And I don't know that everybody who participates and all the spectators realize just how much the Skelton family does to help us and how good they are to us in so many little ways. Gosh, I can't tell you. I mean, I could hardly walk at this year's No Name Nationals. I mean, it was excruciating. I had that damaged left knee, and my left knee still hurts. I do still have a hard time walking. I'm far from 100%. It's a lot better than what it was. But man, he hooked me up, with being able to have a golf cart, which is the only way I'd have made it through. and even put me up a place to stay. So that was just, and that solved a big problem for me. I wasn't sure what I was going to do when I got there. I wasn't able to get babysitting for Jethro this past year, so I'm like, well, let me get down there. I'll figure it out on the fly. And Possum had it figured out for me. I can't say enough good about how good they treat me, and to help this event and help you guys. They're just awesome. I remember the year before, Possum, we're on setup day, and he said, man, I'm having a hard time getting glue. He said, it's just like everybody's out. He said, but they got what I need down in, I think it was in South Haven, Mississippi. He says, I'll make the run down there today if I need to. Nothing stops him from doing what he needs to do for you guys. So, yeah, we love keeping that relationship with Skelton Raceway. Ron has graciously offered to help, and I appreciate that. We will figure that out as we go. But Dust Devil Garage says the temp should be cooler. It's a week, man. It's a week. The temperatures should be very nice. Should be very nice. When will the registration be up? I don't have the site open yet. I do want you guys to remember, traditionally, we have opened registration up at New Year's Eve every year, or that Friday. So we're well in advance of that. I got the date. I didn't want to leave you guys hanging any longer than I had to. I got the date locked down. I think it was it 2 days? It was on Wednesday. I got the date locked down, but I wasn't able to go live last night. So I'm coming live tonight because I didn't want to leave you guys hanging at all. I wasn't going to leave you hanging a week, but had to back it up a day. But that said, I don't have the site updated yet. The site will be updated really soon and open for registration. So we will do that. I just have not updated it quite yet. Wrong English says it has to be better. Last year was about the event or your life. I can only say one thing. For all the things going on in life, I've always had a good time at the event, but it is super busy. Mohawk's asking Andrew Nelson if he got that dart. I guess we're talking about that 67 dart, maybe. Battery Blake, anyone need a 68 Fastback Barracuda roof glass or trim? Greg McDonald's asking about the seats. Left turn Dodge. He might be wanting to do something. Mo Parquet is in the house. Howdy. Mopar's Mustangs and minivans. Those personal little cost of genius idea for those who want a hotel at the track. Oh, you talking about those little cabins he has? I think that's pretty cool. Has it been announced yet? Well, there's a number back here. So if you got a number, this is official. If there's a number in the studio, that's official. Ron Ward says, huge props to the Skelton crew. Not only have they provided an amazing facility, they've provided amazing customer service. I cannot give them enough recognition for how great. Yeah, they're great. They are great. I mean, and the whole crew too. I mean, Possum, the people who run the concession stand, people who run the gate, time slips, the water box, everything. They really are first class there. I love working with them, and we've had a good crew there before. I mean, we work great with everybody who's worked there at Jeffers, and in the days when it was Jeffers, right? But I got to say, this crew is wonderful. They sure don't give us any incentive to want to have this event anywhere else. Dust Devil Garage says September in southern Missouri, a week makes a huge difference. Yeah, I mean, it can make a huge difference. I just want it to stay nice and stay dry. I hate being cold. For me, I'd be fine having it in the middle of July. I like it hot. But that said, the temperatures should be really nice. I figured, though, we looked at the landscape of events and a lot of changes this year we didn't have to deal with last year. And so that fourth week of September was better this year. Next year, it might change a little bit. It could. Always could. And I knew it would eventually because, as things move along in the date, to keep things on the same weekend, they have to advance by one day. Then you have leap year. So that'll always change a little. You can't just have it the same day every year. But, yeah, One-Eyed Cat says Ron was in a funk last year. But I'll tell you, you wouldn't know it. He's always got a smile on his face. Ron's the kind of guy that, he always makes you feel better. He's an uplifting person. Wendy's ready to make that macaroni and cheese. Well, don't make it yet because I don't think it's going to keep for about 295 days. I wouldn't make it just yet. Clayton's Toolbox is here. Hello, sir. Rapid Transit J, greatest sleeping weather was year one. Well, that was roughly this weekend again, but the way the days shift and so forth. So yeah, it was actually September 30th, October 1st. That's how the weekend split over that. But it's all great weather. You can't really complain about any of it. It's not like we're having, February 7th or anything, right? Just Mopar Joe in the house. He says, all right, Mopar people, got her done on the calendar. I should get there early with my new trans brake. Get there early, meaning to the finish line or the event? Oh, boy. Greg McDonald says, if I want to see my twin, go to Dirt Perfect Deep Hole episode to see yourself from the first minute. I don't even think I want to know what's up with that. Clayton says, I have to come this year. Had a business issue last year. In life happens. We understand that. And the thing is, when you have this many people, there are always going to be things that happen. People can't make it. There'll always be people who can make it at the last minute. That's just life. We understand that. All right, Wendy is reiterating those Thursday, Friday, Saturday, September 24th, 5th, and 6th. The official dates that you'll see like on the website and that you'll see like that for public ticket sales are the 25th, 26th, because we don't have ticket sales on Thursday. That's kind of like one of these best kept secrets. Thursday's a free day. You could come in, mix and mingle with the YouTubers and set up and all of that. But because the track isn't hot, we don't sell any tickets for Thursday to the public. So we advertise it that way. But that said, for all of you guys who plan on being there and participating, it's Thursday, the 24th, 5th, and 6th. And of course, if you can't make it there on the Thursday, you can get teched in on Friday and everything. But of course, we start having things early. And we're going to have more stuff this year, too. So we're going to talk specifics about classes later. You've already seen updated rules for the Triple Crown class on Wednesday. Those are going to go up when we update the site for registration and everything. This is just a live to give you guys the date. But we're going to have the site opened up for registration and all of that good stuff very soon. And you'll have the new Triple Crown rules. So we're going to have that, of course. We're going to have the bracket on the Friday, which has just gotten more competitive every year. We've got two-time bracket champion of the No Name Nationals, just Mopar Joe here. He is the first person to ever double up, and I'm sure more people are going to be putting a target on Joe this year. Of course, the house doesn't do that, but I'm just saying it seems like he becomes a higher value target every year, but I'm sure he's going to be able to bring it. Dust Devil, when we'll be able to register as soon as I get the site updated. I don't have it updated quite yet, but I wanted to get you the day, but I will have it updated very soon. And you can pull the trigger on registering. Mid-South Lowballer, I mentioned this Friday on Jamie's he's Dead Dodge Garage. We've got Dust Devil Garage, and then we've got Dead Dodge Garage. So when I see DDG, I think Brian actually live last weekend. We'll be sure the dates are shared on his live. Yep, you sure can. Thank you, Kay. I appreciate that. It is hard work. It's a lot of it spread over the course of a year, but we do this because we really enjoy it and to spend time with all of you guys, the No Name Nationals family, and we appreciate it. Bad Tree Blake, got anything to trade for a 68 Barracuda Dash? Yeah, that's interesting what Blake drug home, those Crusher Barracudas. Blake, you thought, hey, was this the one in the Highwayman? Is this the one from that movie? And one I can't doesn't have anything for Joe, but he can put down some rubber for my run. Yep. Better go on with that flyer. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Hello, Ginger. Glad you're here. Yep. The Ginger's been a little under the weather, got the stuff that goes around, but getting better. So that's the good thing. JB's Little Shop. Howdy, JB. Also, one other thing that was going to be new, so we try to do some new stuff occasionally. We're going to have a lot of the great old stuff coming back. I think we're going to have a great burnout contest. We're going to have a great competitive bracket. The monkey bikers are getting so quick. We're going to try to keep them from going into orbit. But those guys are putting on quite a show, you got to admit. And so the monkey bikers are coming back. They have the bracket. We're going to have the first timer bracket. But I was talking with Ron Ward about this last year, and we're going to work on it this year. And Ron Ward named it the 3-pedal party at the No Name Nationals. This is a good year to bring out a stick car, right? So the 3-pedal party. And so I've got some ideas. I'm going to talk with Ron and a couple of people. I've already talked with Dallas about this. I have some ideas, but we're going to do a stick bracket, and we're also going to have stick matches and call outs and stuff like that. Okay. Ginger, there's 4 pieces of pizza in there if you're interested. It's already in the microwave. If you want to order something, I can pick it up. Mexican Spec, do you want a manual Mustang to race in the stick bracket? He's asking Dean. You know what? Yeah, you know, I want to do a stick car bracket because you know, with stick cars, especially the class racing, can really get out of hand. So we want to do a stick bracket. I can only assume when it buffers on my screen that it's frozen over there. But yeah, we want to do call outs and stuff like that. I'll do a stick. Put me in coach. Jay's asking, is the 5th annual No Name Nationals the year that Dean and Aaron get to the Northern Hemisphere? I sure hope so. And howdy, Busted Radio, Chris. I hope it works out for you to make the No Name Nationals this year. I will tell you, we've already heard from Patrick Floorboard Cheney. He said the only way for me not to win the burnout competition at No Name Nationals is for you to not have it. That's what he said on a couple of occasions. So I think that there's a call out for the burnouts. That's about as close as you're going to get. Rob's Rosin Streetcars. Hello, sir. Yeah, it's things happen. Sometimes people can make it, sometimes they can't, but I really want to see our turnout come out. Who is calling me out? I don't know that anybody called you out. I'm just telling you that blue collar performance. So you've got Nate, his brother Patrick over there, and he said the only way for him not to win the burnout competition is for us to not have it. So he's pretty confident that he is going to have the burnout entry to win. JB says, I will be there without a doubt. 3 on the tree and all. You can have that, the 3-pedal party. Yes, you can. So understand, you can have your automatic transmission stuff as well. Obviously, the bracket racers, Friday bracket, we're going to want to be doing that. But we're going to have an emphasis on manual transmissions. We want to have a stick car bracket. And we also want to have some matches, heads-up stuff. Stick cars are great. You can run them in Triple Crown. But there's a place, for everybody to come out and remember, originally call-outs were the lifeblood of this event. That was what the original event was mostly based on, were the call-outs. And what people found is that both people have to show up and both people have to get their cars done for the call-outs to work. And so that was kind of why that was what made that difficult. 113 wants to join in the 5-timers club. Yeah, I'll tell you what, you know, that it's going to be a pretty exclusive club for people who have been there each and every single year and been there with cars each and every single year with entries. Most of the old parts are on board. I'm really hoping Redbeard 710 can make it back. Yeah, me too. I'd like to see him do it. He's usually got a big project going on, but we'd love to see it work out. Busted Radio Chris says, blue collar doesn't want this smoke. Better pack a lunch. I'm going to save this and I'm going to send it to him. So here we go. I'm going to save this, send it to Nate. Left turn dodge. I hope my boss will give me that week off. Well, let's hope. You got lots of notice. Let's hope it works out. Dean's coming. I hope so. I hope Dean can make it. JB says the trash truck isn't scared. It'll lose and laugh the whole time. I just love being there. Well, you know, JB did win the 6-cylinder bracket and People's Choice, but he's won a bracket. So he's no longer eligible for the beginner bracket. But hopefully he can repeat or try. We'll see. There's going to be a lot. I think that 6-cylinder bracket is going to have a lot of competition. It was a good field this past year, and I'm looking forward to that again. One-Eyed Cat says I'd pitch to the Dean Fund. I hope Dean can make it. Just Mopar Joe, write it down. I'm officially calling out Levi for a heads-up run on Saturday. Ooh, look at that. So for those of you who didn't follow, while Levi did get a 585 at 118 at the No Name Nationals, he had a heads-up run with Joe, had a match with Joe, which he did edge Joe out, but Joe is looking for vengeance, it looks like. So Busted Radio Garage to send it twice. It's all good. Well, send it till it breaks, I reckon. Ron Ward says, over the last 4 years, who has traveled the longest distance to attend the No Name Nationals? Well, there's been several people. Jamie from Dead Dodge Garage. Scott has flown in, has not trailered. The Night Wrencher has come from, I believe, the San Diego area. He trailered in from there. We've got some people who have really made some long hauls to be there. Mongrel's Garage has come down from Canada with 2 cars. So we've got several people who've made it some serious distance. Bad Tree Blake says the blizzard's starting. Looks like I'll have to plow tonight instead of getting something. Yeah, maybe Mongrels, maybe. He drove 2 Mustangs down. He and another driver brought down 2 Mustangs one year. And I thought it was a Mustang and something else. No, it wasn't Mustang. I think it was a 4th gen GM in the Mustang. But and then Night Wrencher came from the San Diego area. And they come from even farther than Good Time T. He comes from Utah. We got a lot of people that haul a long distance to be there. Hot Rod Guy Garage, I'd love to see more drive their cars in. I'm happy no matter what they want to do. They can bring it on a trailer. They can drive it. I mean, some people are afraid of driving something halfway across the country and breaking it. I can understand that. I don't ding anybody for wanting to trailer their stuff. The main thing is we just want them to be there. Graham Pito Vic, hello. Yeah, Tony from Arizona too. There's a lot of long haulers. I was just thinking who is the farthest. Tony has won Star Traveler before. Graham Pito Vic missed the dates. All right. Colleen puts up the dates again, September 24th through the 26th. That's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We've moved back 1 week for those of you just getting in here. 292 days. Actually, 291, 3 hours, 25 minutes. Not that anyone's counting. Most of the old parts are on board. I drive my junk every year, 8-hour drive each way, and thankfully haven't had a single mechanical issue. Yep, he drives his Roadrunner every year. Don says, does he mean the farthest or has the most miles tallied? Well, that's an interesting one. I had to figure that up because Tony's been there every year. Yeah, you know, it's probably, I would say probably Tony's Hot Rod Garage has the most total No Name Nationals trailered miles. I would say that's for sure. Yeah, I can always tell when it's getting ready to glitch because it won't highlight a comment. He says sometimes the issue isn't driving the car there, but driving it back. Bad Tree Blake, getting me a boosted setup for Christmas. I don't know, man. That's up to y'all. Wrong English says 900 miles is a short trip one way to No Name anymore. I don't know. I mean, let's see here. Dr. Go says, good on you. Same for my 318. Bring lots of tools just in case. Yeah, things break. Dust Devil Garages, I burned a half a tank of gas getting there last year. It's a home field advantage for the Dust Devil Garage. He's got it close there. And, you know, I know that Brian has expressed to me he thinks it'd be cool to have the event at a different track so he could travel farther for it. Well, that would be cool. I mean, I wouldn't at all be opposed to that. But I got to tell you, that track works for the majority of our people. It's such a good home location for us. We have no incentive to want to change it, but I get that. But it is kind of a, you know, home game for Dust Devil Brian. 723 for Bigfoots and Mopars. Yep, they come from way up there in Minnesota. Thumper says 3 tanks of fuel for me, 775. It's just a short hop. Yeah, I can't remember what it is for Tony. So it's a good haul for a lot of you guys. Busted Radio's getting back to work. Get his burnout car ready for Sykeston already. Most of the old parts is the only reason I've opened my toolbox in the last 4 years of No Name Nationals was to help Dylan when he was swapping a transmission. Well, I'm glad that it's smooth sailing for Ron Ward, but just know if something broke, you'd have all the help in the world that you'd ever need right there. I've seen it many times. Mid-South Lowballer says, that's a Dodge Challenger. It used to belong to Dead Dodge Garage, and I drove it back from Western Washington. To where? To where in the Mid-South Lowballer? Mo Parquet wants to see everyone dancing. Well, he won't see me. Not on this knee. Dust Devil wants to be testing in Sykeston the week before. See, that's something you can do. Memphis. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking you were in that Memphis area. Wow, that's quite a haul. 1 state away for 38 racing. 1 state away. Yeah, Missouri's 1 state. Missouri borders, I think Missouri and Tennessee border the most states. Tennessee borders 8, I want to say. And Missouri maybe 7 or so. I haven't looked at the map, but Missouri borders a lot of states. $690 miles for Indecisive Garage. Yeah, he's coming from Michigan. Yeah, we got a lot of people that make that haul, but you know, it's not like a lot of people have a 200-mile trip, and a lot of people are stuck with a 1,500-mile trip. So, it's a good long hike for a lot of people, but it's not undoable. It's doable for just about everybody. Aaron says 8,750 for me. Yeah, well, you know what? Get a long snorkel and some chains. Yeah. Yeah, I had a wheel bearing go down. Dougster had some lugs broken. A lot of people broke stuff, but it's nothing bad. Yeah, if I bring the van again, which I probably will, I'll need to put a spindle on the left front. Somebody had a wheel bearing problem years ago before I got it and destroyed the left spindle, and now it won't keep a wheel bearing. And so I need to do that. Now, drag and drive class, there's a whole bunch of drag and drives going on everywhere. So to try to make a drag and drive classes, how about just making it there to the event before telling us what class it needs? Come on out and have a good time. It is a good time. Greg McDonald says 711 miles for me. Yeah, it's 600-ish for me, something close. Yeah, Barsness had to get a starter for his tow rig. I remember that. Missouri borders 8 states. Okay, yeah, I was thinking. And Tennessee borders 8 also. I think those two border the most. SSR Performance says, I only live 100 miles from the track, but I usually make 8 trips over the week. Yeah, well, if you're there burning it down and breaking stuff. Destroyer Ranch says, hey, y'all. Mohawk says, registration going to be the same or going up a little. It needs to go up a little. We've been so low. I'm trying to not take it all at once. We'll make a slight adjustment because this is an expensive event to put on. And I can tell you nothing has gotten less expensive. Things have only gone up in overhead, but we try to make it as affordable as we possibly can. Destroyer Ranch, hello, sir. How's it going? Rabbit Transit J wants to know what Mean Street Mopar is bringing. Me too. Yeah, 700 to get there. That's a pretty good haul. It really is. Junkyard D, he has a long haul too. Junkyard D, what is your total haul? Dean says 8,324 plus 1,295 miles because he's going to go, I guess, pick up a car in Mexico. Dr. Ghost says 638 from him. You know, what's interesting, though, for those of you who don't know, all these mileages they're giving are from places all around. So these are all different directions. It's not like there's one place everybody's coming from. Greg McDonald says, trying to understand how Indecisive Garage is 21 miles closer than me. Well, he might know tricks. He might levitate. I don't know. Okay, Junkyard D says 1,111 one way. Yeah, he's got a long haul. He really does. Mostly Old Parks says 467 miles for me each way. Yeah, D has quite a haul. I love that number too. 11's my favorite number. So 1,111 miles one way. But he makes it. Yeah, Dean's just going to get a long snorkel and some chains on his tires and go for it. Left Turn Dodge says 503 here. Yeah, these are doable numbers. They're drives, but they're doable. Mohawk says driveway to gates 283 for me. Yeah. Yeah, and, you know, we've kept it the same a couple of times and had to bump it, but I'm telling you, it is expensive. Just the way it is. Ron says 11's your favorite number. Are you a KO fan? No, 11's been my favorite number since long before. $551 way for Rodney Bird, but not towing. JB's a couple hundred away. Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's not bad. I will tell you that it seems to work out right geographically for the most number of people. Bad Tree Blake says, so different regions start out wide in the circumference and drag and drive your way towards the center for a big final. B Street Mopar says, I'm going to finish the Diplomat finally. I want to bring my D100. I'm putting the 318 with W2 heads and a 4-speed in it for Triple Crown and a 3-pedal party. You got 291 days, 3 hours, and 15 minutes to do it, my friend. Like to see it happen. Dust Devil Garage, 160 for me. It's torture. 160 is not bad. 160 still is far enough you wouldn't want to try to sleep in your own bed at night. Some people can, but yeah, Ron says, I don't think No Name Nationals could have a better geographic location. It really is a good location. It really is. Like Hunger Games with drag cars. Kind of what we have, isn't it, Blake? Don says if Wendy can handle the road trip, anyone can handle it. Mohawk's total drive, pit stops and traffic's about 4 hours. That's actually a really nice drive. You got to admit, when it's 4 hours with stops, 283 miles, that's a nice, easy drive. You know, that's an afternoon. You know, it's nice. Destroyer may be the closest now. I may be. I mean, there's a lot of people who live pretty close. Depends who shows up. But the main thing is we have the dates. I'll reiterate those for people who are joining us because we've had people coming in at different times. The 5th annual AHRA No Name Nationals will be at Skelton Raceway in Sikeston, Missouri, September 24th, 5th, and 6th. That's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Same day format as last year, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Thursday being tech and cruise, Friday being the bracket burnout competition, Saturday being class eliminations. But it'll be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, September 24th, 25th, 26th. Not this month. Dr. Goes says, not to boy is the track excellent, but let's not forget how excellent the food is at Lambert's, their ability to accommodate us cruising in. Yeah, they know what's coming now. And I really think we're going to have our best turnout this year ever. I think the 5th annual is just a milestone, and we're going to see a lot of people want to come out. I think it's going to be great. And really, what will make it great is everybody showing up. That's what will make it great. Pro Charged Mopar, howdy. And Dizzy Izzy, saw you sneak in here, sir. Thank you guys for showing up on a Saturday. I know this is a different day, and glad you could all show up. This is a good year to turn out. I expect everything is going to be just a little more this year. It's going to be good. Wrong English said it was perfect timing because we were at our next exit when you and Lars passed us. Yeah. Yeah, I never see anybody out on the road I know coming in because I'm usually coming in crazy o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. And I get there. I mean, it's a week for me. That event is a whole week. But it's great. It's so much fun. I wouldn't want to trade it for anything. Proto Charge Mopar. I went to 1st and need to get back up there for the 5th. Yes. Come on. JMJ agrees. Is he saying 292 was a 6-cylinder by Ford? 292 was a V8 by Ford. I don't know if there was a 292 6 or not, but there was a 292 V8, like in the 55 Thunderbird. And that's right, inline Chevy 6. That's right. I forget about them. Yeah, exactly. I forget about that one. Boy, those Y-block Fords were weird, though. The way they had the ports turned and all that. JMJ said, thanks for sharing early. People with excuses have the tools. A quote from our friend Joe right here, excuses are the tools of incompetence. But yeah, so we always would strive to get everything done, date locked down and shared by New Year's Eve. And then we made it the last Friday of the year, traditionally. But we've been able to get you the date a little earlier the last couple of years, and we did this year too. I wanted to get it by Thanksgiving, but there was still a couple things moving around, so we finally got it all locked down at September 24th, 5th, and 6th. 2026, Skelton Raceway, Sikeston, Missouri. I can't see anything stopping this from shaping up to be a wonderful year. We want to keep everybody healthy and together and functioning, and get as many of your projects together in there as possible. We're going to have a good time. And we'll be talking more about each of the classes here soon. So, obviously the classes you're familiar with, we did kind of a pilot with the 6-cylinder bracket. And of course, that first timers bracket is always popular. We love that. We're going to do a stick car bracket. That's going to be new, the 3-pedal party, but that's kind of like a thing. And we don't necessarily have to do everything every year, but I think it would be fun to get the stick cars out there for 2026. Ron Ward says, here's his 5th annual predictions. Just Mopar Joe wins his 3rd bracket race. Tanya Falk goes 3 to 4 rounds in the stick shift class. And Professor P posts a low ET of the event. Those are good predictions. Those are good predictions. I like those. Those not going too much out on a limb, but I like them. Mohawk says, if you're out there, Rich, I'll give you a ride in the Scamp if you show up. It is what it is from Hopak Kong, New Jersey. He wants to try to make it happen. Tanya likes those predictions as well. You should say no. You should say you're going to win it. It's only 4 rounds if that's all the rounds there are. Wouldn't that be something? Wrong English says the cat in our first car was a 67 Malibu with a 300 inline 6. 67 Malibu with a 300 inline 6 and a 2-speed automatic. Okay. 300 inline 6 a Ford engine. What you had there is 250? I don't know. Laura says he's going to bring lasagna just in case. Well, we just hope that everybody will come out and have a good time. And it's going to be great. Looks like Dizzy's trying to get some, I guess, those Edelbrock heads from Professor P. Tanya says, I'd love to win, but need way more practice to treat for that. You've got a whole season ahead of you for practice. I mean, I'm sure the tracks are closed where you are now because there's snow on them. But that said, they're going to open up. You're going to have a lot of opportunity. Dean reminds us that his climate is completely different on the other side of the world. It's 83 degrees Fahrenheit today. Great time to surf. But he's inside vacuuming for the missus. Ron says out on a limb for a 30 thousandths reaction time or better, Blake shows up with more than 5 team cars. Bigfoots and Mopars returns to No Name Nationals, faces Joe in the bracket. Okay, Ron, now you're smoking stuff. But I'll tell you what, if Bigfoot Mark makes it against Joe in that bracket final, that would be awesome. I want to see him bring that Belvedere. There's a 292 Chevy. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Dr. Go had to miss the group dinner. Hey, man, if you can make it, we'd love to have you. So we have our community cookout on Saturday, and, of course, we cruise to Lambert's on Thursday. Friday's kind of like figure out what you're eating on your own, grilling, whatever. I know that one year Coke did Chicago hot dogs in the pits. I thought that was great. A lot of people doing different stuff on Fridays. Of course, the concessions are open, and they do have good food concessions. I do get really good feedback on the food they have at concessions. Thumper says it's 6 degrees here and just dropped to 5. I felt colder just having heard you say that. Dougster is here. Hello. Indirect Connection says Great Lakes plowed the track. I passed it. Are you for real? Do they actually plow the racetrack? Oh my gosh. Telling you has to fix the rear differential first. What's in that car? 7 1/4? Left turn Dodge says we might have a plan, a practice date. I've never done it. Yeah, well, that's it. And we'll walk the track and help people. There's a lot of people that make their very first passes down the track at the No Name Nationals. It's a good place to do it. Supportive people. We can get you a single and, all that kind of stuff. So, if you're going to make a first pass, by all means, go out and go to your local track, support them, make your passes there if you want to. But if you are making your first passes No Name Nationals, it's not a bad place to do so. Ron says that Skelton's Raceway concession stand is in his top 3 of all time, following only Midwest Raceway in Manhattan, Kansas, and Cordova. Cool. Excellent. Tony confirms, yes, a 7 1/4. Yeah, well, those things, they're not known for being that stout, but a lot of people have run them a long time, but they're kind of like a time bomb. Buff said I did my first pass at No Name Nationals. Yeah, a lot of people did. Ron's saying Midwest Raceway had the deep dish lasagna, and Cordova has those cinnamon rolls that will give you diabetes and gain 7 pounds. Barkley will give you a light lesson. Yeah. So that's you can walk the track on the Thursday or whatever, and track isn't hot, but kind of give you a tutorial, and lots of people there to help you. Don said it's the only track he's ever run on. Dutch says the 292s have all the threaded holes to replace a small block. There you go. Dr. Go says No Name Nationals was my first pass down the track, and it was great. Lots of good people explaining to me how to do it. Making 500 just weeks before, and the first run ever was a dream come true. Colleen says at 55, this year was my first time down an actual track. Right on. Dizzy says, I did my first legal race to No Name Nationals. Enjoyed the crap out of it. Really? You hadn't had your Angry Vagrant on the track before the first No Name Nationals? Brian says, I need to get new seat belts this year. Indirect Jason says, Sykeston's the only 8th mile I've ever been on. I like it, man. I think it's the right size for what we do. It's a great venue for that. 8th mile racing is great. Wrong English says Don hasn't broken his 7 1/4 yet, subject to change. Yeah, I think you're asking to, though. Just test and tune. Okay, so not in eliminations. Well, Dizzy, make sure you get everything together and get in the bracket. Be wild to see Dizzy going rounds in the bracket. Barkley would be cheering for you. Everybody would. Racer wants to get some pro tree practice in this year before the No Name Nationals. Ron says, tip of the cap to Deke Denny. He's an unsung hero of the No Name Nationals. I would agree with that. Who works his tail off to inspect every vehicle, ensure safety, and promote awareness. Just a great guy, too. Absolutely. Deke Denny is a wonderful part of the team that makes this happen. Thumper broke his 19-year hiatus from racing at the 2023 No Name Nationals. Left Turn Dodge says, I'm only a couple years behind that. I've raced on many 1/4 and 1/2 mile tracks. 3 wide on Milwaukee was a trip. Yeah. Hey, but this is a different challenge for you. Dakota is here. Says, howdy, folks. Well, Dakota, are you coming back to the 5th annual No Name Nationals? Going to be a great time. 292 days. We got a number on the wall here. Mohawk says Sykeston was my first time on an 8th mile track and the first time taking the Scamp down a track. The Valiant's rear window was angry prior to several clutch dumps and power shifting. Okay. Yeah, Dakota, you and Hunter coming back? We really want to make the 5th annual special and bring back a lot of the folks who've been there in years past, and we'd like for you and Hunter to come back. Should Dakota be in timeout yet? Dakota, what time would you like your timeout? It is 9 o'clock here in the East. We'll let you request your timeout. Wendy says, I have never been down a track, but someday I might. Well, Dakota got a 308 gear. Okay, it's a posi, which in a GM, it actually is a posi. Huh, Colleen, you have to follow up with him. Or maybe I can ask. Bigfoots and Mopars, all of us northern guys need to do some practicing at Tri-State this summer. Tri-State's an amazing facility per Ron. I have not been there. It does look like a good place to go, though. Wendy needs a proper ride along. Mine won't do it. Vintage Adventure Drives, I'm finally here. I had to go stand by for a structure fire. That's an interesting reason to be rolling in now. Busy's thinking of having a big sheet cake made with No Name National script and some channel names. That'd be interesting. Did I red light on Dakota's timeout? Well, just asking. You can get him whenever you want to. All right, good deal. Good deal. Did Joe snipe you for lurking? That's just excellent. High five to Joe for that one. Wendy needs to ride in Mr. Haney with Cope. Well, I don't know. I don't know if he'll bring Haney. He may well want to bring his Power Wagon, or who knows, the Coronet. I don't know. But I don't know. We'll see. He may bring Haney. You never know. I just hope he shows up. We'll see. Cope has made it to 3 of the 4 events we have run. He had a lot of stuff just hit him all at once right before the 3rd annual and didn't make it. But he was at the 4th, and hopefully he will come out to the 5th. Dizzy's saying, bring the cake and maybe a baked ham. No Name National 26 for the potluck. Yep. Aunt D says, if we can go, it's 1,100 miles one way. And you know, Junkyard D has already got you beat by 11 miles coming from Bismarck, North Dakota. But that said, come on out, man. We'd like to meet you in person. Dr. Go says, Mr. Haney will get your attention. He took me for a street ride when I stopped in, and it was awesome. Oh, yeah. Haney's no slouch. Wendy said, I need strapped down tight. Yep, can do that. Speaking of the potluck, will there be a refrigerator available? I'm sure we could work something like that out as needed. We can figure that out. We just don't want to get too crazy. I don't know how much space we could utilize, but we can figure something out. Vintage Adventure Drive says, see how well he can do the next couple of months. Just start a class to get his advanced EMT. Cool. One-Eyed Cat suggesting start your gas fund now. Wendy stashes 20s. A fridge for potluck will be a game changer. It could be, but I don't know how much facility we'll have for that. I can ask, but I don't know how much I could guarantee for others that way. Indecisive Garage, I'm not sure what I'll be bringing, but time will tell. Wrong English is Mr. Cope is a blessing to us. Indeed, he is. He's a good dude. We're glad to have him in the community. And I can say that for everyone here. One-eyed cat thinks ahead, man. He gets his stuff together way early. And he's suggesting the gas fund. There's Cope. He's lurking. They were asking if you're bringing Haney, and I said, well, maybe the Power Wagon. Who knows about the Cornet? Maybe Haney. We don't know. Maybe he'll bring his white plow truck and take the plow off and run it down the track. I don't know. Should we bring one and plug it in by the ground? Now, that would actually, if somebody brought a refrigerator, now that would be a lot easier, but I don't know what they have there, but that would be kind of wild if somebody did, but that would probably change a lot of things. Vintage Adventure Drives. I'm bringing the Scamp for sure. Almost ready. Throwing some giant slicks on it soon. Yeah, just remember, tech changes a little bit when you go to slicks. You got to have drive shaft loop. Dr. Go took advantage of Cope's Black Friday sale, Cope Racing Transmissions, and he says hello. Yeah, we were talking about people cooking in the pits and stuff and Chicago hot dogs. Ron says, I hope the dude with the ice cream wagon comes again this year. Yeah, you know what? I thought he was pretty reasonable too. Good dude. I'm glad he came out. I don't have a problem with that. People, vendors like that being there for food. That's fine. Any more rules for just drag radials? Drag radials, you have to have a drive shaft loop like you do for slicks. Mohawk said if I can score a cheap or good generator, I have a half dormer size refrigerator. Well, we might be able to accommodate power for that since a lot of people will be using it. Vintage Adventure Drive says, I'll make sure the entire car is ready to pass tech with flying colors. I want the tech guy to look at this car everywhere I go. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Go over it and make sure. It definitely makes it easier on game day. Dizzy saying, Cope, best 2 out of 3 challenge. Thumper saying, my 275/60 Pro Mickey's finally showed up today. I'm told they'll make the jerk hook, which is his Pontiac, big blower car. We shall see in 6 months. Yeah, we might be able to accommodate refrigerators. We'll figure that out logistically on the way down the stretch. Thumper says, do we want to have a 400 cubic inch challenge? I think Thumper should do a 400 cubic inch call out. How about that? That would be ideal, wouldn't it not? Vintage Adventure Drive says, once I get my car how I want it, I'll never need Cope's help. Third pedal fixes that. Cope says, best 2 out of 3 food stamps. Here you go. Don says, mine has 400 cubic inches. Yours has, well, I'll tell you, most people can see that's a tall deck block. Ron says, the Thumper's car was fun to watch. Wish I could have seen it hit the finish line through all that smoke. Ooh. Thumper says, Tanner's poor Scamp doesn't have a chance against one of my Pontiacs, though. Vintage Adventure Drive says he's going to drive away from 38 Racing. Racer says, that car better pass tech. How else can I beat you? Dakota says, if everything goes right, I'll be getting another Dodge D150 here soon. We're hoping you and Hunter will come back to Sykeston this year. JB says we need to keep people with generators next to the track away from the tent campers. Yes, yeah, and we will certainly address that. So tonight's live, we wanted to give you guys the date, but there's more things, obviously, we're going to talk to logistically about that. Generators are rough on the tent campers, and we're going to work on that. We got 22 acres there. Surely we can work out a coexistence that works. Junkyard D wants to know how much the Chicago hot dogs are this year with the tariffs. Max Wedge, Dick Dastardly, this is the year you need to come out, man. It's your year. Ron wants to know what's in store for the 2.8 liter powerhouse in the S10. It's asking JB. Vintage Adventure Drive says that's what I run for quarter mile, 433s. Aunt D says our biggest hurdle is going to be logistics with kiddo in school. Does anyone fly in? And if so, where to? St. Louis? This is probably a good question for somebody who's flown in, or Brian. He's kind of a local there. He'd be a good one to ask. But probably St. Louis would be where I would think, because we're about 2 hours south of St. Louis to track. Yeah, Mohawk wants to do the two scamps picture in front of the big welcome banner, I reckon. Memphis is closer than St. Louis. Yeah, Memphis also might be sketchier. So I don't know. I mean, I would say either one. But Lars said, I found if you walk about 30 miles around the pit, you'll fall asleep. No problem. Doesn't matter how the generator. I probably walked 6 or 7 miles the first No Name Nationals, probably. Definitely can't physically do that again, but, I wish I could. Vintage Adventure Drive says he'll likely throw a 4088 or lower gear in it for No Name Nationals. Mostly old parts from the Lord says St. Louis and Memphis airports are equally sketchy, but Memphis has better barbecue. Okay, well, that might be a good reason. I know that Just Mopar Joe's mom had a car stolen at the Memphis airport one time. And if you go back and watch this old live I did with Just Mopar Joe years back, you can see his brother Drew changing the oil in that car. We did it from Joe's shop. That car got stolen from the Memphis airport. Indecisive Garage says, I may have walked 600 feet at my first No Name Nationals. Yeah, we might have tied. I probably didn't walk that far. Probably couldn't have. Vintage Adventure Drive says, I don't think anyone has ever ran as much as I did at the event at No Name Nationals. Oh, I don't know about that. There's some people who really put the passes down. Big Mike says, I didn't realize we're having a live tonight. This is right, because I went to hear the Roanoke Symphony Orchestra last night. We had to back up one day. Bruce says, stopped in to say hello. Dave's here with me and Lori, and Dave and I are being forced to watch a pretty stinky movie. You guys drew the short stick, and you're watching a chick flick, right? Tell Dave I said hi. Tell Lori I said hi. When you can peel her away from that pretty stinky movie. $38 brings up a good point here. He said, also, if you're up until 2:30 working on a car, you sleep well, at least till 5:30 in the morning. Yeah, those guys were thrashing. I went down to check on them a few times. JBC, it's hard to throw that kind of money at a $500 truck, but I don't care. Yeah, you got to put that out of your mind and just decide if you want to do it. Exactly. He got his Pontiac for $300. Dave says hi, but Lori's in the stinky movie coma. Okay. Bruce, we just announced the dates for the 5th annual AHRA No Name Nationals, September 24th, 5th, and 6th in Sikeston, Missouri, which is 291 days, 2 hours, 44 minutes from now. And we're going to have new things to talk about, including something from Cousin Cletus. We're talking about that soon. We're not talking about the classes and all just yet. We've got the date announcement early, which we've done for 3 years in a row, but we announced the event the last Friday of the year. So we're going to be talking about some different things, okay? Cousin Cletus, we're talking about something different with him. We're doing the 3, I'm not talking about it yet because I'm going to talk about it with him when he wants to announce it, but we'll do the 3-pedal party. We're already telling you that's going to be a thing. Triple Crown is probably going to be pretty gnarly this year. And the burnout contest, I can't wait to see what these people are talking about because it's going to be pretty wild from what I'm gathering. Mid-South Lowballer said, if you see me running, word of advice, make sure you're faster. It's getting deep in here. Yeah. Russell just sits back and lets all that happen and then takes care of business. He's the quiet one you got to worry about. Bruce says, want to hire a woodwind quintet? Don't tempt me. Busy says, first No Name Nationals I raced, won 3 and ran several testing tunes and a lamb or something. Cousin Cletus says this will be the biggest and best No Name Nationals yet. It absolutely can be. You guys show up, it will be. Bruce says, got to go clothesline Lori before she grabs the remote for another Hallmark movie. Yes. Yes, you should. Yes, that's a good idea. Yeah, filters disintegrate with alcohol and sleep deprivation and such. Yes. Dizzy says, in a lane burnout pit, was afraid of breaking the vagrant. Will do better in 26. I don't know, Dizzy. You had a wild, memorable run the first year. JB is still waiting on stuff from the machine shop for the Blazer, driving me crazy. Yes, machine shops are, I'll tell you what, there aren't many left, and the ones around are all backed up. It's the way it goes. Dizzy says it was a blast. He did oval track like a god, kind of did. That was a wild run. Vintage Adventure Drives is looking at a set of 500 gears for the Scamp. Maybe my 8th mile pick. My car had 513s, and I think they put 490s in it. The good machine shops are always busy. Yes, they are. Yeah, Dizzy wasn't scared. It was the people in the state. Yeah, it was the people behind the barricades. We remember that run. Dean's saying, are we going to fit sleeves to bring it down to 273 to compete with Dead Dodge? No. I think Dead Dodge Garage fits in Triple Crown. Dakota, no. I got that event is, I mean, it is like 19, 20 hours a day nonstop for me. It'd be fun, but it's just not, it's not a thing. I mean, I am thrilled to be working that event, and it is a great time. I enjoy seeing what you guys bring out. JV Disney. All right. We all remember that burnout run. It was pretty wild. Already 292. Time's going to fly by. Yes, it will, because that orange paper is only going to count down more and more. Yep. So Left Turn Dodge is debating on a 430, 456, or 488, or could run the 514s. His car is heavy. You can also bring multiple gears and swap them out there if you want. Nice thing about an 8 3/4 gear change isn't too bad. Indirect Jason, I'm going to be running a 456 with a spool because I have it. I think Dizzy's over on cubic inches. Junkyard D's asking why Dizzy can't run Triple Crown. I think he's over on cubes. Laura says, we're already replacing wheel bearings in Wilburd's van at the event. The last thing we need to do is wet sand it on the Dart Sport. No. He is correct. Oh, his springs are moved in. Yeah, I think you were over on cubes too. Well, maybe not. Something like that. Rear springs moved in has to be stock. Junkyard D says springs can be moved into the frame rail. So Dizzy, if you've got the traditional Mopar leaf spring relocation, then you can. Or did they swap the hangers side to side, which I don't like because it puts the leaf springs narrower than they have to be. But so Junkyard D says springs can be moved into the frame rail. I'm not looking at the rules to reference them, but Dakota says, can 455s run Triple Crown with 2 plugs removed, or are they still overpowered? Go on Wednesday and ask that question. Have some fun with that in there. Vintage Adventure Drive says, my car has a 9-inch, and I think a 5.0 gear would work for me to be where I want to be. The car will be running around 92 in the 8th, around 5,500 RPM. Thumper says, you're not the only one to get a win because I put on a smoke signal class Mohawk. Dizzy's 3 over on cubes. 371 got to be 368 or less. Yeah, you have what, a 40 over 360? Cousin Cletus says, I've seen the 2 call-outs so far, heads up race and a burnout call-out. We need burnout call-outs. We need that. What exactly is cubic inch limit? Jason says 368. So a 30 over 360, that and down. I wouldn't encourage anybody to cheat, but I bet you Dizzy's engine would pump 368 or less, because usually, from what I see, the pumping gauges are a little lower. But that said, we want to be honorable. Vintage Adventure Drive says, I think there's a second call out in the making. Oh, yeah, we need to see that. You guys got a good idea who will show up and who will be there. Brian Barsness is here. Hello. Junkyard D, take it to a vote, Izzy. Other competitors could possibly override the extra 3. There you go. Vintage Adventure Drive says to Thumper, let's make this call out official. 38 Race says there's at least 2 call-outs, 2 race call-outs. Yes, there are. 38 was very early to that party. Thumper says you want him to bring his car Ace rather than the Jerk. You can see those on Thumper's channels. Dakota says 2 plugs removed on a 455 is 341, well within the limit. Yeah, take that down the track on a testing tube and see how it does and report back. Yeah, they're out there. There's going to be more to come on that. Remember, this is early, guys. We try to have this all lined out for registration and classes and everything by the last Friday of the year, New Year's Eve, roughly. We're giving you the date early because we've got it early again this year. We've been able to do that the last few years. And part of that is because the Skelton Raceway is good to work with us on the schedule, and I really appreciate that. But the other events around the region have shifted stuff a little, so it took us a little longer than we wanted. We got it ironed out. Vintage Adventure Drive says, if the Ace is what's up your sleeve, let's do that. 400 versus 400. So there you go. Indirect said, Dizzy, 3,339 pounds is what your car would have to weigh. Maybe the rule could change. Well, that would be a good one for Wednesday. Dust Devil Garage says, calling out here doesn't help. Make a video. Calling out here is okay, but follow it with a video. There's nothing wrong with doing it here, but just make your call out on video too. Ray says we get to pick which two get unplugged. There you go. So 38, if you were going to pick which two to unplug, which ones would you pick? The One-Eyed Cat says street tires don't grip too well. Dizzy says stock rear spring placement. I asked. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking D is right that you can do the inboard relocation. Are yours moved inboard, or did you swap and put them on the insides of the frame? I've seen it done that way too. I'm not a fan, but some people do it that way. I don't know. Dizzy says the car is 3105. Was that without you in it? Dakota, you're saying all this. None of that might be permissible by the rules at all. So 5 and 7, I knew it. I knew that's what he'd take. Vintage Adventure Drive says his car's a stock bottom end with fresh pistons and original rings. By the time it's on the track, it'll have less than 4,000 in the car. I don't know what we're talking about there, Dust Devil. If you want to lose both me and Thumper, sure. I don't know what's up with that. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of things with Triple Crown. You just ask on Wednesday nights with Dallas and Professor P. They are the ones who craft the rules for that. We give it room in the run order, and we're glad to have the class, but they're the ones to ask about such things on Triple Crown rules. We're going to put the official 2026 Triple Crown rules up on the website when it opens for registration. Okay? But that's a good place to ask those questions. There were small changes, small revisions made from 2025 to 2026, but that's a good place to ask those questions. And, of course, the rules will be posted officially at nonamenationals.com when the site opens for registration. As of right now, you can only register for the 2025 event that has already been run. I recommend you don't do that. So, because at 5 and 7, well, I bet they wouldn't. Bigfoots and Mopar says Thumper needs to bring the Jerk. It'll be the second fastest blower car at No Name Nationals. I got to tell you, Thumper versus Bigfoot Marks Blown Belvedere would be cool. That would make a cool picture, too. Dizzy says, Dean, I'm proud to say I'm 264 now. Dizzy, what total loss does that represent? Yes, and he calls it the skimp, not the scamp. Oh boy, Bars Ness is making a call out. Vintage Adventure Drives, I'll drag you down the track in 2026. So there you go. Bars Ness is making a call out. You got to do it. You need to make a video. You made it here. Make it on video as well. Russell says, put on my waders for the second half. That's the comment of the night right there. Dizzy says 83 pounds total. Good. Congratulations, ma'am. Congratulations. That's a significant amount of work. Vintage Adventure Drives let all the Mopar misfits race me, which I affectionately call Camp Dust Devil, because that's Brian and his crew over there. You running a 402, Barsness? I think you're a 440 guy, right? Tanner's going to be busy. Tanner will be busy. Tanner was busy anyway. Max Wage Dick Dastardly says, I'm under 200 for the first time in 15 years. Right on, man. Well, Dakota, regardless of what you see, there's what the rules are. So you can look at last year's Triple Crown rules at nonamenationals.com. They're still up, but the new ones will be posted when the site opens for registration here soon. Was $299. Wow, dude, you're over 100 pounds down. Congratulations. 2026 is starting out right. Let's hope so. Skelton Racing is in the house. Hello, sir. I believe that's Little Possum runs the Skelton Racing channel there. And we have announced a date. We are 291 days, 2 hours, 29 minutes from the September 24th Tech Day at the No Name Nationals at the Skelton Raceway. Barsness is looks like a 30 over 440. Bring him back the Super B. Cool. Make sure your truck starter survives another year. You've had bad luck with tow vehicles, man, so hopefully that'll work out for you. Vintage Adventure Drive says, I'm trying to get back to 152 like I was last year. I'm 12 pounds away. You don't weigh 140, do you? Gosh. But yeah, we're glad to have them in the house. We were telling folks we really appreciate you guys. You're a wonderful host venue, and we are greatly looking forward to bringing the No Name Nationals back to the Skelton Raceway in Sikeston, Missouri for the 5th annual in 2026. Going to be exciting. We're already talking about the 5th. How many of you guys in the chat remember when we were talking about the 1st? Since we got the boss in the house here, Tell him how many people here were at the 1st. How many people here were at the 1st No Name Nationals here in the chat? Dust Devil says my bones weigh 152. Yeah. Oh, 164. Okay, I was going to say, sure, you're not 140. I think I'd have remembered that. You know, look like a praying mantis walking around there. Barsness says, speaking of town vehicles, I want to make a tow rig Tribbles Award for next year and give it to whoever has the most issues. I hope I don't keep it. Well, if you do, you can come up and give it away. Left Turn Dodge remembers hearing about the 1st. I think everybody heard about the 1st. Dust Devil remembers talking about the 1st year before it happened. In fact, there was about 10 people that I spoke with about the event when I had the idea forming, and Dust Devil Garage Brian was one of them. He was in my little focus group circle for that very 1st year. Brian probably knew about it. There is a lot that had gotten put together by about June of 2021. Brian and I were talking about it, and it was forming before then. So Brian is very early to the party. Very early to the party. Brian is as OG as it gets. Dizzy says, who all wants to go down the track with the Angry Vagrant? Make a video on it, Dizzy. 1st No Name Nationals was great. I agree. I agree. You know, that first one day, you know, one thing we should do sometime that would be kind of fun is telling some of these untold stories of the 1st No Name Nationals, like the first, and again, it was so positive and wonderful at the event, but man, did we have a lot of rough seas getting there. We had some rough seas getting to that 1st year. It's kind of wild. Kim Fixes Things. It's great to see so many friends getting enthusiastic for another year. I was there on year one. Yep. Kim brought the wild-looking van. Yeah, sometime we could tell some of the stories, the first no-name nationals, some of the untold stories. I got to tell you, the putting the money together for that event just came down to the wire. It was a shoestring deal, but we did it. It was interesting. A lot of interesting things from that first year. Believe it or not, I myself did spectate at the first one. Then you've watched it grow. Yeah, Jay was in on that early. He remembers it. Ron said we were discussing the first no-name nationals at Carlisle before it happened. Oh, yes, because I went to Carlisle. I was talking with him. I said, guys, we're going to have a big cookout in the middle of the country with our YouTube friends at a racetrack. Buff says, Kim and I have been to every no-name nationals. Yep. The East Mopar. I was at the first. Yep. Spectate. Vintage Adventure Drives. I remember hearsay of the first. I wanted to go so bad, but didn't think I'd make it. Little did I know I would just a few years later. Yeah. A lot of people remember it. Everybody remembers it, but a lot of people have been. Big Mike says, I've been to all four so far with 4 different cars. Bigfoots and Mopars. I remember talks before the first no-name nationals and called out Joe before there was even an event. Yep. A lot of you guys came in with blind faith and said, we trust that John and Dallas are going to put on an event worth going to. And I'd like to think we did. Kim says, I'm sure it was not the inspiration, but a force that is difficult to ignore. Well, I got to tell you, Kim rolls up in that van, that wild-looking van. People remember Kim made a big splash the first year. This is true. One-Eyed Cat says, Big Mike, some things turn into tradition. They have indeed. There's been a lot of traditions formed at the No Name Nationals over the years. Max Wedge Dick Dastardly says, want to lose weight, get a puppy. Gets out the food, you never get to sit down. Let me tell you, dogs make your life interesting. Cousin Cletus says, I was so sick, but it was such a good time at the first one. I liked that everyone was trading stickers and everyone seemed to talk to everyone. Yes, yes. It's a great time. It's a great time. Remember, at the first No Name Nationals, this was by far the most, all of the people here in the chat who have been had never met each other in person that first year. We'd only seen each other's videos and stuff. Thumper was signed up for the first, but the truck broke and has been there ever since. Yep. Some people were beset with problems. Things happen. Indirect Jason. JB, you should go next year. You'll have fun. Yeah, JB will be there. If we had 10 feet of snow on the ground, JB will be there. Wrong English says there's a following here. We're all to get it together. I don't think there's any following. We're all just doing this thing every year. Laura says, I treed 2 hacks, Jeff, on a monkey bike at No Name Nationals #1. Yeah, that's right. They campaigned a monkey bike for Dallas the first year. Vintage Adventure Drives heard of No Name Nationals because of UTG. Forgot about it for 2 years until Dead Dodge Garage made the Stone Soup series. Knew I needed to make it in 25. Fast. I like the rich. It's not a tradition. No, it's not doing that again. But Cardboard Rich had a good time. Thumper says, when I showed up, nobody knew me but racers since I don't show up in my videos often. Yeah, I'll tell you, a lot of people didn't recognize you just, to see you, but that's just true. Racer says, only knew a few of the folks at #1. Never met any of them until then. Yes, this is true. Unfinished Project said it's a big block 727 kind of day. Yeah, he's been scoring those things lately and sending me the pictures. Backwoods Performance is late to this one. Well, we'll go ahead and mention it now, so we've got a few minutes left. The 5th annual No Name Nationals will be run on September 24th, 5th, and 6th. Thursday, of course, is the set up and cruise day and tech and all that. But racing on the 25th and 6th of September 2026. It's moved back 1 week from where it was last year. It's still in that second half of September window, but because of the events shifting around in the world, we moved it back 1 week from where it was last year. Not to say it won't come back to that 3rd week the following year. Who knows? I'm just saying we want it to be close to that. And it looked like this was the best time to have it. Dizzy's got to run. You have a good evening, sir. Backwoods, it's not on the weekend of War in the Woods or Mo Party. This is great. Well, I can tell you, Mo Party moved theirs. And they moved the Ford Festival, and some other stuff moved. So, cool. Well, show up, man. Dust Devil found out where his satellite was at the first No Name Nationals. Very cool. Thumper found some of his best cars because of 38 Racing Ray. So we're sort of even, he said. Max Wedge Dick Dasher says, did anyone ever get their cars from Vic? Not me. Take that up with Vic. M Rose 72. We're looking forward to seeing y'all in 2026. Yeah, well, 291 days, 2 hours, 17 minutes. Look forward to everyone who can make it. Backwoods Performance says the 3-door won't be making an appearance. The 63 Fury will. To be announced what car I'll take. NSB Custom. Hello, guys. Glad you could make it. How about this on a Saturday? I was not able to go live last night, so I backed it up 1 day so we wouldn't have to sit on this date announcement because we just got it confirmed, I believe, on Tuesday evening or Wednesday. So I had to make a couple phone calls, make it official. I like to get all the I's dotted and T's crossed before we put it out there. So yes. So September 24th, 5th, and 6th, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's back 1 week from where it was. NSB, we sure hope you guys can come back. Mars Nest says we need a Super V versus Super V race finally. Been talking about it for years. I'm a big fan of the Super Vs. And Mars Nest and Dean from NSB each have a 69 Super V. Cletus says, if you don't come to the 5th No Name Nationals, you're lame. Well, I should be there. Yeah, we're making plans, and I want to get as many of the people back as possible. I mean, I know it's a big commitment to make that kind of travel because there were some people who made it a year or two, but I got to tell you, it is an expense. It is a commitment. And especially the distances you guys come from. But I'd love to see everybody come back and have a great time and fellowship together at the 5th annual in September of 2026. Backwoods says, I'll be there for sure. NSB says, we definitely need to make that happen. Well, we would love to have you guys back, NSB. Love to have you back. We're going to be having a 3-pedal party at the No Name Nationals. 4 stick cars. Running a stick bracket plus some match and call-out stuff. I think it's going to be right up your alley. Wrong English asks, what is the workload on Thursday? Many things needing to happen. Wednesday's the day we try to get most of the stuff like the banners, the signage, all that kind of stuff, canopies, that kind of setup. Still doing some setup on Thursday, but I try to get as much of that done as possible so that Thursday I can get everybody checked in, get everybody car numbers, check on tech, and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the thing. So yeah, whatever work we got Thursday, we'll have plenty of help by then. But I got a good dedicated little crew that helps me on Wednesdays, and it's been a real blessing. I couldn't do it without them. Vintage Adventure Drives, I just put in my days off for next year. I'm making it. Right on, man. Big Mike said, I'm sure I'll be there with a different car. Cool. Yeah, and Wrong English, by the way, we call him Wrong English. Ron English, he's a great guy. Let me tell you, when anybody needs help, Ron is there. He's the first guy to volunteer to help. He's one of those kind of people, and we appreciate Ron for that. He's a good dude. I don't know anyone who doesn't like the English clan. Any of them. They're all great people. Mexican Spec said, how many 63s are in this group? That's a good question. I'll bring another air horn. Yeah, well, it's going to be a rowdy burnout contest. Indirect Connection says, I'm hoping my oldest gets her license. She's going next year and hopefully taking a car. Sounds great. Sounds like the Falk family is really going to make their own crew. They'll have their own crew there. Backwoods says, anyone wants some can get it. We'll be looking to grudge race, hopefully with the clocks off. Cousin Cletus says, me too, but no Tesla this time. Vintage Adventure Drive says, but you weren't watching a house burn down when John went live. Yeah, well, that's good. At least you're not watching this house burn down. Wrong English says, I have seniority at work. No name trumps anybody else's wish for time off. Well, hey, man, I appreciate it. Glad you like coming out. We're always glad to have you. Mopar's Mustangs Minivan says, he was the distraction. Rabbit Transit J says, Jason, we need to get bigger trailers, perhaps. I got to say, though, I really like watching the open trailers roll in with all the cars. That is super cool. I've always liked that, especially as a kid, watching those open trailers roll in. You get to see the cars and the race cars on them. Jason says, I need to pick up a semi. Dust Devil Brian, I'll be putting in for my vacation on Monday. What? People use trailers? You used a dolly to bring the S10, didn't you? Behind that 59? What's your, right now, tentatively 38, Ray, what does your setup look like coming to Sykeston for next year? What are you thinking? Vintage Adventure Drive says, I'll have the greatest looking open trailer when I roll up. Can't wait to see it. And a sharp tow rig. Yes, I like the setup Tanner brought last year. JB says, I just use a tow bar and hope for the best. Yeah. Well, you got enough vehicle to pull a trailer now, JB. Coolest tow rig of 25 was Racer, I think. I got to say, yeah, he and Vintage Adventure Drives both had a cool setup going down the road. Yeah, no denying that. Wrong English says, open trailers get a thumbs up from other drivers when you pass them. Yeah, and rightfully so. Jason says, Chris, I know someone with a CDL. Yeah, that we do. Several of our guys have a CDL, I think. Racer's got the Mess 10 on a toter. I guess a dolly. Not sure what'll be pulling it. You don't want to try that again with the 59, though, right? Mohawk says, I've already got the next 295 days off. Did you finally retire, Mohawk? Vintage Adventure Drive says, I towed a car with a truck. Racer towed a truck with a car. We were cooling backwards. This is true. How many times do you see a car towing a truck? Enclosed trailers wish they had the cool factor of an open. Yeah, there's a lot of advantages to enclosed trailers. No denying that. But man, that open trailer's cool. Just show up any way it happens to work out. I would agree. Thumper says lots of people snapping pictures and thumbs ups hauling his car. Yeah, I bet. Yes, Mohawk has retired. Max Wedge, Dick Dastardly is with him. I've done the math. I can retire when I'm 112. Left Turn Dodge has an enclosed. It will not be at No Name Nationals. You bring an open trailer to the event? Vintage Adventure Drives. I really hope Jamie shows up with his ramp truck next year. That'll be cool to see. I would agree. Ramp trucks are great. Cousin Cletus says, I pulled the LS swapped Volvo on a trailer to No Name Nationals. The wheel on the trailer had no lug nuts and was about to fall off as I was pulling in the gate. Crazy year. It was a brand new trailer, too. Well, I'll tell you, yeah, you and Dougie both had that going on. It's where people just jam those wheels on with impact is what does it right there. That's why I get it all squared up and that's where I get it torque wrench to make sure that thing's on all the way, because if it's not quite on there, they'll have the last ones they put on. The first one they put on a little loose when they put the last ones on. Colin says, I love traveling my stuff open trailer. Older folks remember and the younger people wonder what it is. Yep, indeed. I always go back and retorque you. Yep, I know. Hopefully Frizzell will bring Legacy on a ramp truck. We'll see. Left Turn Dodge has the debates if I bring an open trailer with one car or with two cars. Two is always the right answer. There's always somebody who will want that extra spot if you don't. Cletus says there's a big trailer parts warehouse in Sykeston that was very fortunate. Yeah, that's true. This is true. Thumper says, I don't tighten anything with an impact, but I'm kind of strange from building transmissions for a lot of years. Copies is an impact building transmissions all the time. I'm not a fan of them. It's so easy to just tear stuff up with those things. I'm just not a fan. I do like an impact. Like if I'm taking down front end parts, it just saves wear and tear on your body, not having to fight breaker bars and stuff. So I do like them for certain things, but Dakota says, I'm going to get ready for bed. Good night, y'all. Later, Dakota. Thanks for joining us. Buff says he's going live tonight. I believe Dust Devil Brian is going live tonight right after this. I believe he's going to do color commentary on No Name Nationals. Cletus says, I'm a big fan of impacts, but you use them with care. Yeah, they're great. They just have their place. I mean, I've seen people who just like to impact everything. And, they got their place. I know one thing. I'll tell you one thing I don't like them for is adjusting the control arms, like adjusting your torsion bars on your adjuster on the control arms. It will tear those up. It will. I'm not a fan of that. A lot of things are just not good for like that. Cope taught me you can't use them too for putting in like a bolt-in sprag. Comes to these long bolts because the little screws are so small that you use to install it with. They build so much heat. So you have to just turn that wrench forever to install it, but it does work. Left Turn Dodge puts them on with a 3/8 impact and then tightens them. Cool. Cletus changes oil on his Tesla with a 1/2-inch impact. There you go. Racer says, I'll re-torque wheels after a few miles. I like mine to stay on. I just use my regular old snap-on torque wrench and have always done that and put them on, and it's good. Yeah, J-Bo said we had to fabricate a shackle for our trailer at the track. Fun times. Yes, they did. Sunday morning a couple years ago, the Bad Tree guys had a shackle come apart, and remember them making one. Dr. Go said it is fun running cross country with our no-name national stuff as other travelers pull up and try to figure out what it is or give you a thumbs up, have your number on the cars. People ask questions, gassing up. Yes, this is true. And the number does inspire. When you have your no-name nationals number on the car, it does inspire a lot of chatter. Dust Devil Garage says, I'll be going live after this so we can talk more about the No-Name Nationals. So over there on Dust Devil Garage's channel, he's going to have a live. If you want to chat more about what's going on, from one of the OGs, Brian. Vintage Adventure Drives uses a beam-style torque wrench. I completely believe that. That does make sense. You would use a beam-style torque wrench. Mr. Analog Tanner there, yes. I like the beam-style. I have one too. But I use a click style for the wheels. Thumper says, almost anywhere I stop with one of my old cars, I have people start asking questions. I'm sure it happens to you guys too. Here is a link to Dust Devils Live after this. Lars puts it up. Thumper says his elbows and hands have a very accurate torque sensing system. For anybody, since we've got a few minutes to go here, I'll just recap. We do have a date announcement for the 5th annual AHRA No Name Nationals. We're going back to Sikeston, Missouri, to the Skelton Raceway. September 24th will be the Tech Thursday. 25th and 6th will be the Friday and Saturday of September. September 24th through the 26th, 2026. So just mark your calendars. We got a 292 on the wall back there. We're 291 days, 2 hours, and 2 minutes away. So just want to put that out there one more time. This is the date announcement. And then we try to announce the event the last Friday of the year and have registration open on the website and the new rules and everything posted. We're doing this early to give you guys the date because we've been able to give you the date a little earlier in the last couple of years. Backwoods Performance is hauling the CUDA from Chicago the first time was the most conversations I've had hauling a car, or ever had hauling a car. See, people seem to like those authentic 70s race cars. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Those bring people out like nothing else. Cletus says, I got to remind everyone as you go along about the potluck. It was great. Yes, and last year was a pilot to see how people would like it, and we're bringing that back. We're going to have the community cookout Saturday at awards time. That's how we'll wrap the event again. Vintage Adventure Drive says, I'll likely have Sikeston bound on my car as I drive the No Name Nationals next year. Cool. And Colleen just puts up this. Very good. Racer's going to have the No Name Nationals. He says, get a No Name Nationals banner and strap it on the back. Mine never left till I got home. Yep. We'll have more banners in stock when we reopen the website and all that kind of stuff. So Thumper wants some as seen on YouTube stickers for his cars. Yep. So Lars says Wednesday night Tech Talk Live at 7 p.m. Central. We'll plug that really quick. That's a good place to ask your Triple Crown questions or any general tech questions. We're going to have more on this event later in the year. Usually the last Friday of the year is when we formally announce the event itself. We went early to give you the date this year. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of y'all there. And as we close tonight, thank you for joining me. Thanks for backing up and changing your weekend around to join me tonight. Don't forget, Dust Devil Garage is live after this to continue the color commentary. So go over there if you feel so inclined. And with that, thank you all for coming out. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll be seeing you guys again on Friday.